Okay, here we go. Well, welcome everyone to the Team PlantStrong, Team Worth Monday night call. We're so excited that you're here, and we have a special treat for you guys tonight. One of my new friends as of 39 Club Retreat is here to join us and to share her experience with the Juice Plus business and her story. Everyone has their own unique story and journey with this company and with this mission. And so I love being able to bring in friends who have walked a different path and have them share their story with you guys. And I think you're going to be really inspired tonight. You're going to be really motivated and realize that, you can do anything you set your mind to. You really can. And so I'm going to share a little bit about Leah. She's a pastor's wife. She loves living a life of passion and mission alongside her husband, Damien. And they have 3 sweet girls. I think I only met the little baby, but I can't wait to meet the others. She has Olivia, Scarlett, and Adeline. They live in Orlando, Florida. They've been married, or they've moved 3 times in 10 years. Is that right? And she has a bachelor's degree in interior design. She has a master's degree from Covenant Seminary, and she's had her Juice Plus franchise for 9 years, and they reached national marketing director in September of 2016. The same month her daughter was born, her 3rd daughter. You guys, this is crazy, and she's a rock star. She believes everyone has a unique contribution to make in the world, and is passionate about providing families with the opportunity to design their lives in a way that allows them to flourish personally, see the value each day, and make a contribution in the world they were created for. So we are in for a treat. Leah, I'm going to have you jump on here now, and I've just asked Leah to share her story with you guys, and then I have some questions for her, and we'll open it up at the end for some Q&A.
Awesome. Okay, so am I coming through okay? I'm not cutting out, am I? Okay, perfect. My internet's been kind of funky tonight. So, hey everybody, it's good to meet you guys. I'll share a little bit about my overall journey with the product and the company. This has been going on a 9.5-year journey for my husband and I now. So when we were first introduced to Juice Plus, 9.5 years ago, we had just gotten married and we were right out of college, and I found myself in a place where my health had just come to a head, and unexpectedly I found it crumbling and was very confused and searching for answers, just dealing with a myriad of issues that were mounting quickly and causing some depression because I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so in my search to try to figure out what to do, I began to realize how critical fruits and vegetables were. And the interesting thing about this point in my life was my background is interior design. So I was working at an architecture firm full-time, and it was a pretty high-stress corporate job. So I kind of had these 2 parallel crises, if you will. One of them was my health, which, like I mentioned, was beginning to crumble. And it was alarming to me because prior to that, I would have, if somebody had asked me, I would have said, yeah, I'm healthy. I mean, I thought I was fit. I was always worked out and stayed active. Never thought a single thing about what I put in my mouth. So that was definitely a blind spot for me. But also the other, kind of the second aspect was a financial one, because we were in a situation where we were going into church planting. You don't really go into ministry in the first place because you're going to make a good income. Plus, on top of that, we were helping plant churches. And I knew that down the road, I wanted to be able to have the flexibility to choose my own schedule. I desired to have kids one day. And I knew that in order to do that, I was going to have a way to create a second stream of income, because working in a cubicle wasn't going to cut it. Nor did I really even want to do that for any longer than I absolutely had to. So there were these 2 existing realities, and my health trumped everything at that point in time, just because if you've ever dealt with health issues, which I'm sure many of you on here have, you know that it absorbs your entire life and you can't even think about, you know, anything else except fixing what's going on with you. And that's kind of the reality that I was in. And that's what led me to discovering Juice Plus. Number one, I was just in hardcore prayer for an answer. And I realized that I had to get more fruits and veggies. I was all gung ho. And like week one realized this was going to be a lot harder than I realized because things were going bad in the fridge after I bought them. Like I really felt like I was forcing myself to eat vegetables every day. So that wasn't sustainable. And my husband actually had never eaten a raw vegetable in his life. And he was 24. He had a gag reflex. I'd actually seen him attempt eating a raw vegetable and it wasn't pretty. So I was like, okay, we need some help. Maybe I need to juice. I remember having a friend come over with her juicer and her like 10 to 15 pound bag of produce and making like 2 glasses of juice. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I can't do this. Like, this is like, number one, incredibly expensive. And number two, like I'm working a 40, 50 hour a week, high stress corporate job. Like I can't be juicing all day long. And so I actually at a jiu-jitsu academy that I was attending at the time, I learned about Juice Plus, and it totally made sense to me, mainly because it was food. I had done supplements because I knew I had these health issues, and I was like reading up on them. I'm like, oh, vitamin C and zinc and all these things are great for this and that, and realized that those were not helping, and what my body really needed was food. And that's what caught my eye about Juice Plus, was that it was food and that it had research. So I decided we were going to start consuming Juice Plus. And the only thing was that we were pretty much living paycheck to paycheck at the time. And we're just buried in school loans. And so I knew that we were going to have a way to pay for it every month. And when I found out that I could cover my costs by sharing it with others, I thought, okay, that makes sense because I'm going to tell people about it anyway. It's just fruits and vegetables. So that was how we got started. And I just remember telling my husband, like, hey, you know, like I ordered this, we're going to, you know, consume these fruits and vegetables, and we'll never pay for it out of pocket, like praying in the back of my mind that that actually was true. And so thankfully that is what happened. So when I got my first paycheck, because I remember thinking to myself, like I had some trepidation because I was like, how in the world, like this seems too simple. They're actually going to pay me money for sharing fruits and vegetables with people. That just seems like there's got to be a hedge. That seemed too awesome to me. And when I got my first paycheck, it was $5 more than the cost of our Juice Plus that month. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like this could be an answer to more than one prayer of mine. And so that's how it got started for us. And it began to progress because I knew that I kept thinking of other people that I knew could benefit from more fruits and vegetables. And I loved the fact that it was all about just inviting people, sharing, and educating. I loved that. And so that's how our journey got started. And what happened in our health was first and foremost, we started craving more fruits and vegetables. And yes, my husband actually started craving vegetables. So, I mean, I think that's a little miracle. And he, I still remember the day I walked in and he was eating raw carrots, and I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know. I just saw these in the fridge and they looked good. So I started eating them. And so it's crazy for people who know us now to hear that story, because I mean, it's hard for them to believe it because he's practically a vegan today, and he gets railed on all the time by his guy friends about like the fact that he eats plants all the time, but that's what he loves. And as a result, through the years, he's probably lost 25 or 30 pounds. He's healthier than he's ever been. Our home is asthma and allergy free now. And all the myriad of symptoms that I was dealing with just started kind of slowly dissipating. I had chronic fatigue, and I literally have more energy today with 3 kids than I had with no kids at the age of 24. So I'm like, yes, sign me up for that any day. I have to make myself go to bed at night. So that's a good thing. My skin, like I was having a lot of breakouts on my skin and hormone issues. And through the years, like my skin has just cleared up more and more and more, and just we're not having the sick visits to the doctor. And then the fact that we've had 3 healthy pregnancies and babies, because honestly, I was really concerned about being able to have children because a lot of the health issues that I was dealing with. And our kids have a really rock solid immune system because they, I think, well, we've had 1 antibiotic in our home in the 6 years that we've had kids. And so it's pretty amazing to be able to give that to our children now. So that's a little bit about what the product's done for us. Now, what happened in my business journey, I reached sales coordinator in about 5 months after starting the business, and was pretty pumped because I was like, wow, this is a nice second stream of income. And I actually ended up getting laid off from my job in 2008 when the economy tanked because our firm had to lay off like half the employees. And I was wanting to leave my job anyway. And so having my Juice Plus income was really critical in a very unpredictable, unexpected time in our lives. And so what ended up happening for that journey of sales coordinator and beyond was I ended up kind of plateauing a little bit at sales coordinator, you could say, for about 5 years, and wanted to move forward and like made a goal of moving forward numerous times. And there were a few shifting points that happened for me, and I'll just fast forward to the last 3 years, because in the last 3 years, our team moved from sales coordinator to NMD. And what happened, a few things. One was we made our 3rd move across the country to Orlando, where we live now. We had a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old at the time. And I really was doing some major soul searching and was kind of just praying and asking, like, you know, essentially, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? I mean, I love being a mom. I loved the fact that my Juice Plus business had given us enough of a cushion for me to be a stay-at-home mom. That was a total dream of mine, but I knew that that was not all of it for me. I knew there was something more. And I was really kind of in a place where I felt like, okay, is it my Juice Plus business? Is that the other thing? Is that something that I'm supposed to proactively grow? Because if it's not, I honestly, I was like, I don't want to keep going if like, it's not, I mean, Juice Plus was always going to be in our lives and we loved it. But I just really was like, if I'm going to do this, I really want to do it. And I want to know that this is like something I'm really called to. And maybe some of you can resonate with asking questions like that at some point in your life. And essentially the things that happened for me were, number one, I realized the lean industry had been weak in a sense, and my belief in myself kind of, it went hand in hand. So what that looked like for me was, in the past, I think I always had this like abstract hope, like, yeah, I'd love to be NMD. I'd love to, you know, move beyond the place that I'm at right now. But in the back of my mind, I'd always kind of, you know, question like, well, maybe that's not going to happen for me. Like if I'd get like a handful of no's in a row, it's like, yeah, this isn't going to pan out for me. Like it must work for some people, but not for everybody. And so I had read Eric Worre's book, Go Pro. And that really opened my eyes to seeing like, this really is about how many people I connect with. And I had to get over myself in order to connect with more people, because I was really the reason that I had kept my numbers of people that I was connecting with so restricted because of, you know, fear, fill in the blank. And so that was something that I realized, okay, like it's not an if I'm going to excel, it's when I do, as I do this. And that gave me a lot of confidence of knowing like this works. I already had a strong belief in the product and the business. And so that was huge for me. My mindset was really huge, because I began to realize that I was, you know, well, to state it positively, I wanted to start choosing abundance more than scarcity in my mindset. So, having confidence that the right yes will come. So when I'm inviting people, when you invite boldly, you got to be ready for the no's, because they're going to come, and you're being courageous because you're sharing with more people. So you might get them at a more rapid rate. And so I really had to cling to the fact that I'm going to be confident that I'm going to get the right yeses and at the right times. And if somebody says no, that was like on my dream team list, I'm going to have peace that this was not for them right now. And our team is, we're better off too, because this wasn't a good place for them at this point in time. And so really just training my mind to focus on the progression that was each day brought and the next steps that were happening and the wins that were happening, because previously my tendency was to focus on what I was lacking or what hadn't happened, or feeling like I wasn't enough as a result of those things. So that would breed scarcity. And I really want I had to train my mind to see past, like, realize in my spiritual believing, praying, God going to provide hard, and that He was going to provide favor. And that was something I prayed every day for my team and myself, and realizing that He had already answered prayers I was praying for that second stream of income. It was just a matter of me stewarding what He had given me and trusting Him to multiply that. And so those were my major shifting points. And it really just freed me up to be who I am and to invite boldly. And literally that's why NMD happened. That's why this amazing team of people exists today, because of a sense of just freeness and being able to be courageous and sharing with more people.
Awesome. I love that. It's really cool just to see, not everyone goes super fast to NMD, and everyone has their own journey, and it all happens in the right timing. I really believe that we all have our own time for, whatever level we want to achieve in this business. So I have some questions for you. Tell us more about what it looked like to push for NMD as a mom of two, pregnant with a third, fully pregnant, having your baby the month that NMD happened, and you were staying home with them, I understand. So, there's a lot of stay-at-home moms on our team, and, they're doing the business while they're, raising their babies. And there's a lot of moms on our team that are working and coming home to their babies. And there's a lot of busy professionals on our team. And so how did you fit in your business with your family and find that balance? And
yeah, that's such a great question. I think that one of the most basic things is a consistent DMO. So having a proactive plan. One of the things I've learned in my journey is intentionality goes a long way. So if I take the time to plan out the people I want to connect with that week, I'm much more apt to be able to connect with more people when I have 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Where, my daughter was in my pre-K, oldest daughter at the time. If I was sitting in carpool, I could pull out my phone and I could connect with a couple of people. So intentionality was huge. I am a stay-at-home mom. I actually homeschool now as well. My oldest just finished kindergarten. And so, some of the things that as a family we've done too is we've tried to create a certain culture so that our kids know. So like if I'm having certain times a day, like nap time or quiet time for my older kids, to actually work on my business, I try to communicate to them even at a really young age, like talking 3 years old. Like I tell them, mommies, it doesn't mean that they're going to be perfect while I'm doing it, but I just try to start early and let them know, like, mommy is going to be spending some time helping other people and serving other people so that they can get healthier, so they can, spend more time with their little people like I get to with you. And you're helping those people by sharing mommy. And so I would, say things like that to my kids often, because kids are always going to be right there, tapping you on the shoulder, like, hey. And I can say hey, just remember, this is mommy's time. Then we're together. We're helping serve these people, unless it's an emergency, go find something to play with. And so having some times that are carved out that you really protect, figuring out what your sacred spaces are for not just your family life, but also your business. Because for me, it's easy to get wrapped up. Like, here's the thing, moving from SC to NMD, you have a little bit of a team at SC, and it can be really easy sometimes to get wrapped up in like just working with the team that you have. And the key really is a lot of activity, like a lot of your own personal connections with people, bringing on new customers, bringing on new team members. And that was something I had to make sure I was staying committed to. And my DMO really helped me do that. And honestly, just letting go of things being perfect, because I can have a tendency to have really high expectations about how my house looks, or, did this or that get done? Is all the laundry folded? Like all that stuff. And as a mom, like there's so many expectations already on us. And a lot of times we put those expectations on ourselves. So one of my biggest encouragements from my own journey is just giving yourself a lot of grace and embracing the crazy, and kind of redefining crazy as a good thing. And if it ever just feels like it's getting out of hand, just have a dance party or something, and like just have fun, and like embrace the fact that like, none of us have it together, and we're just that's going to attract people, because people aren't going to feel like they can do something where they have to have it all together and the schedule's all perfect. And so when I think about my push to NMD, it involved a lot of connection with an incredible team of people that was committed. They were committed to their own goals, and we knew as a team that was going to equal NMD. And communication with my husband. So during that period of time, he was, very much on board and willing to, give me some extra time outside of maybe what I would normally work on my business, to go do a call or to get some time away. I will say that I mostly did it with my kids around. That's what I would say. And just found some creative things that, they enjoy doing, that I could set them up with, giving them like their own goals. Like, okay, by the end of the week, like, let's do this. Let's have this to look forward to at the end of the week. So those are a few little nuggets of things that were helpful for me in that journey.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that one of the takeaways that you said was, people relate to imperfection, especially people that are moms or people that are crazy busy. It's okay to have dishes. One of the NMDs I know, she says she intentionally leaves dishes in her sink when she has parties, because she wants people to feel like they can have parties at their house if their house is not perfect. So she, like, even if she has time to do dishes, she leaves them in the sink. And I was like, I don't know if I can personally do it, but I want to try. That's like a brave act for me. Just
so true.
Just embracing the crazy, embracing the imperfection. What are some of the sacrifices you had to make along the way that, maybe they're small sacrifices, but they feel like they're big sacrifices in the moment, that you feel like in hindsight were so worth it? Maybe it's, sacrificing time with your kids, or not doing something bigger as a family, or I'm not sure, but can you think of anything that you feel like on that journey was like a sacrifice in the moment, but now you and your husband are like, that was so worth it to bear down? And
I think a lot of times it's the seemingly smaller things that I feel it, the most in, or that I'm aware of. Like, I missed my daughter's first day of kindergarten, which was this past fall. But honestly, like, as a family, we've really worked to have a culture of talking about the bigger picture, because everything we do every day is going to relate and fit into a bigger picture. And so by keeping that in mind, it's really helped in those moments where I'm like, oh, he's like sending me the picture of her on her first day of school and I'm not there. Or just like, being gone, period. I don't know what it is about, as us as moms, like how we feel like we can never be gone. But, there have been several times that I've been gone, either from all of my kids or from a combination of them. Like, I have a baby right now, so she's usually with me, but then I leave the other two. And it's not like a ton, but I mean, you know, I travel a fair amount and I enjoy traveling, and that's a choice that, you know, I've made. The cool thing about this business is you get to make those choices. But, you know, I would definitely say that's been a sacrifice, because there's times where like my heart kind of is pulled, like, you know, should I leave them? Or even just like the day to day, you know, it's time for me to sit down and work on my business. Here's the thing though, you guys, is that the business, you know, you are your own boss. So like if there's a day when I can just sense that like one of my daughters needs me, and I've set time aside for my business, like I get to make that choice. Like I can say, you know what, I'm going to do this later. It's like she needs me. She needs my connection right now. But honestly, most of the time, I think we feel like our kids need more attention than they really do. You know, I heard somebody once say that what our kids really need is not our attention, but our connection. And that's very true for my kids. Like if I sit down with them for 10 or 15 minutes and it's like me and them, and the phone's away and the computer's away and we're reading books, like they are just like the happiest kids. And then they'll just go off after that and play. They're ready to go do their own thing after that. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll just go do my thing now. So, you know, really having those types of connections. You know, another thing for me is like something totally random is cloth diapers. Like it was one of like my mom things. Like I'm total fan of cloth diapers. And I was like hardcore committed, and like haven't done that with my third kid. And I'm like, you know, like we get wrapped up in these things as a mom. And it's like, oh my gosh, like where's my identity as a mom? And you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, but sometimes it's things like that where it's like, you know what, that's one less thing right now. And we're, you know, going to get a big return because I can invest the time I'd be doing that into other people and helping serve other families. And so those are a few random examples, but they've given us vacations. They've given us, you know, I get to pay for like super incredible swim lessons for my daughters. That has done amazing things for their confidence. Just mornings out where, you know, I could just choose on a Monday morning. Like this morning, it's like, hey, we're just going to go to this cute little like breakfast place together and have breakfast, me and my girls. And I get to choose those things now. Whereas in the past, I did not have the time freedom or the financial freedom to do the things that they would say are their favorite memories of us as a family.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I have two last quick questions. Number one is, what role has going to conference played for you? Did you go every year for the 9 years, or did you take a break in there? And then did that play a big role in you kind of jumping back in or getting your team to go to like help you get to progress from sales coordinator?
So I've only missed one conference in the last 9 years, and it was because I was too late in a pregnancy to fly. Conference is, to me, it's a non-negotiable, but I would say when my shift happened, the difference was I showed up instead of with one or two team members. The first conference after that happened, there were like 14 people there. So I think I became more bold in, you know, sharing with people what I knew was going to help them excel. Because it's one thing for me to go, and I would say absolutely make it a non-negotiable so that you can invest your time in inviting other people instead of deciding if you're going to go, because it will make a difference. And it's going to make even more of a difference if it's not just you hearing and being, and it's not even mostly about what you hear. It's about how it shapes you as a person and who you become. And that's going to happen for those people in a way that you can't transfer to them if they're not there. So it's been huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more. I haven't missed one since 2010. So
That's awesome.
Last question is, what's the best advice you have for moms or busy people on our team who just want to grow their business? And what's your best advice to them if they're really have goals set of, you know, a paycheck goal or a promotion goal, but you know, there's so many things to focus on, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, balancing life and the business. Like, what's the best piece of advice that you got or that you give to your team for people who are really juggling a lot, but also very intentional and really wanting to make this a reality so their dreams for their family can come true?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, if that is some of you that are on the call, I really resonate with that feeling of, just really desiring to see awesome things happen in my Juice Plus business, but also feeling the tug of, my other priorities and my family and my kids. I think that one of the things I would say is just lean into the community. I mean, obviously you're on an incredible team with people who are paving the way. And one of the things I've learned in this journey is that even if a person isn't going through the same life thing that you have, we've had so many people of all different walks of life that have done this. When you lean into the community, it really, I think, normalizes any kind of scenario that we're going through and helps us build the belief that we really can do this, especially with the support of other people. Going to conferences, 2 conferences, and ideally 2 boot camps a year. I mean, it is essential. In my journey, it's just been one of the biggest parts of helping me stay engaged, even throughout the 5 years when I was kind of felt like I was running in place. And I think just really knowing who you are and what you have to bring to the table. So really taking time to reflect, what matters to me? What gifts do I have? What am I, passionate about? And think about how you can bring that to your Juice Plus business in a live it out loud, bold, courageous sort of a way, because that's going to give you joy in what you do. And it's not just going to be I need to do X, Y, Z to get to this next goal, but it's going to be oh my gosh, this doesn't even feel like work. This is so much fun. And you're going to be more apt to think of how you can incorporate your family into what you're doing. And that's going to attract other people as well. If they see you having fun and have joy in what you're doing. And I would say just give yourself a lot of grace, because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one on here that has the internal tapes in my mind that are you're not enough in this area, or you didn't do this, or you should have done that. And that is a nonstop thing that can be a reality as a mom. And so when I say give yourself grace, to me, what that means is, number one, remembering the value of who you are and going back to that on a daily basis. Even if you have to put a reminder on your phone 3 times a day, that says, where am I winning? And so that you train yourself to think okay, what has happened in the last 3 hours that I freaking rocked at? Even if it was, I don't know, wiping somebody's butt. I don't know, we are doing awesome things and serving little people, serving big people, and you have to see the value that you bring to the table. And so that would be my encouragement. Grab onto some people in the journey that you can get ideas from. That's helped me a lot. Other moms, or if you're not a mom, but you're just a busy person, grab onto people that you feel or ask your sponsor if they know of somebody that you could just vox and say hey, do you have some ideas for me? That's helped me a lot, because sometimes in my mind, I'm this whole journey was new to me. How do I fit this in and do life? And I would get little ideas from people here and there and kind of made it mine. And it's become our family journey, and it looks messy sometimes, but I feel like we're having fun with it, and it's just filled our future with hope, and we're giving that to other people, and there's really not anything better than that. So
awesome. Well, I don't want to take up much more of anyone's time, but I just have one burning question. How did your team make NMD the month you had a baby, your 3rd baby?
Well, okay. So the thing is you don't win the World Series, without practice and repetition, right? So it wasn't we showed up in September and we're hey, let's do this thing. So we had been working diligently since probably June. So June, July, August, September. So like a 4-month journey of like really like every month it was like, it could be this month. It could be this month. It could be this month. And I had the grand plans of having it wrapped up by the end of July and then having a whole month before I had my baby to like nest and like get the nursery ready and like do all this stuff. And like that totally, didn't happen. But I was like, whatevs, like we're having fun, so we'll just keep doing this. And I remember close of business in August, so I'm like due any day, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll just keep like rolling on. Like we had a handful more things, and I think that this is the thing about relationships is it's like this isn't a job that I'm like, peace out, y'all. Like I need some time to myself before I have my baby. Like I would say in the past I had a tendency to do that, but I'm like, I don't have to. Like these are my people. I love them, and like this wasn't. It was not about NMD. I mean, yeah, I was like so pumped for NMD, but it was about the fact that like I was in it to win it with these people who had these goals, and they were like putting their all into it. And it's like I will not stop until this is done, because we're family and we fight for each other in that. And so so we just kept going with it, and I had my daughter, I mean, I had like things on the calendar. I didn't like block any time off. So I know I missed some calls in there because I had a baby, but probably like when she was 5 days old, my husband looks at me, it's like September, I don't know, 12th or something. And he's like, okay, well, I really want this. You really want this. So if you're ready, or when you're ready, I'm ready to help you like get back into calls. And I'm like, well, I mean, I've got a newborn. She sleeps most of the time. So I'm like, resting, so I can do calls, I can do Zooms. Like that is the beauty of our business, you guys. Like you can do it like no matter, I mean, anywhere. And so there I was just like with this little baby, like doing calls and just, getting back in there. And I think that, just going back to the not feeling like it has to be perfect and just knowing that, I was in there for my team and I was going to see it through with them. And then literally like I think it was close of business. So, I mean, we didn't even need the weekend for call first. It was close of business. We wrapped up that last HLP and it was done. And I think in my mind, I mean, in my faith journey is a big part of my story. And I just have to say that, even though I had grand plans for it to look different, the timing of it, looking back, I'm like, man, this is like so the perfect way for it to happen, because I could not have just done this on my own. There was a lot of diligence on my team and a prayer that went into it ahead of time. And so that's a huge encouragement, is just repetition and just, keep moving, keep taking steps forward, because it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen when you stay connected and stay the course.
I love that. I love that you were doing it for your team, and that they are family, and that's how we feel too. And we're grateful that you blessed our family tonight here on this call. And we don't have time for other questions, but we're just grateful for you. Thank you for sharing your heart and your wisdom and your story with us. It's so powerful, and we hope that you have an awesome night. And I'm gonna unmute it so that people can say thank you.